I used your college fund for my dream house. Amanda's voice dripped with satisfaction through my phone speaker. You're never going back to finish your degree anyway. Time to grow up and face reality. I gripped the kitchen counter, feeling the cold marble under my fingers as I processed her words. The $800,000 education fund my grandparents had left me was gone. Or so she thought. Interesting, I replied, my voice steady. And how exactly did you manage that? My name is Sophie Parker. At 32, I'd spent the last decade working as an accountant while slowly building my way toward my dream of finishing a medical degree. What Amanda, my sister-in-law, didn't know was that I had been expecting this move ever since she married my brother James 3 months ago. Oh, it was easy, she laughed, clearly disappointed by my calm reaction. James still had access to the account from when your grandparents first set it up. All I needed was his signature. The house is gorgeous, by the way. Much better use of the money than some silly dream of becoming a doctor. I could picture her smug expression, probably admiring herself in one of her oversized designer mirrors. Amanda had swept into our lives like a hurricane 6 months ago, convincing James she was his soulmate after just 2 weeks of dating. I'd seen right through her act, but James was too enchanted to listen. Well, thanks for letting me know, I said, opening my laptop. I hope you enjoy the house. That's when her voice rose with frustration. No crying, no begging. Come on, Sophie. Where's the drama? I ended the call without responding and pulled up my email. There it was. The confirmation I'd been waiting for from my attorney. The transfer Amanda and James had attempted had been blocked. The funds had already been moved to a new, secure account 2 weeks ago. My grandmother had always said, trust your instincts but verify your accounts. She built her own accounting firm from nothing, teaching me everything she knew about protecting assets before she passed. When Amanda started asking suspiciously detailed questions about my college fund at Sunday dinners, I knew it was time to put those lessons to use. I dialed my attorney's number, my hand steady despite the anger simmering beneath the surface. Hi, Linda. I just got the call we were expecting. Has everything been documented? Every attempt they made to access the account has been recorded, Linda confirmed. The timestamps, the forged documents, everything. Your brother's signature appears to have been coerced. Do you want to proceed with pressing charges? I thought about James, my sweet but naive older brother. He'd always protected me growing up, standing up to bullies and helping me through our parents' messy divorce. Now he was married to someone who made those schoolyard bullies look like amateurs. Not yet, I replied. Let's wait for them to realize the transfer failed. I want to see what Amanda does next. After hanging up, I walked to my home office and opened the bottom drawer of my filing cabinet. Inside was a thick folder labeled Grandma's letters. I pulled out the most recent one, written just weeks before she passed away 2 years ago. My grandmother's words read, "My dearest Sophie, I'm leaving you this money because I believed in your dream. Medicine isn't just a career for you, it's a calling. Don't let anyone tell you it's too late or too hard. And most importantly, don't let anyone take this opportunity from you. You're smarter than they think." I traced her signature with my finger, remembering how she had taught me to analyze handwriting patterns when I was just 12. That knowledge had helped me spot the inconsistencies in James' signature on the transfer documents Amanda had submitted. My phone buzzed again, a text from James. "Hey sis, Amanda's really excited about the house we're buying. I know the money was for your school, but you've got a good job already. Family should help family, right?" A familiar ache tightened in my chest. James had always been terrible with money, jumping from one get-rich-quick scheme to another. Amanda had apparently figured that out within days of meeting him. Another message came through. "The realtor needs the money by Friday. You're not mad, are you?" I started typing a response, then deleted it. Sometimes silence was the best reply. Let them figure out on their own that their plan had failed. My computer pinged with an email notification. The medical school admissions office confirming my interview for next week. I'd already been quietly completing prerequisites at night while working full-time. The money from my grandparents wasn't just sitting in an account. It was an investment in my future, one I'd been carefully planning for years. I opened my blinds, looking out at the city skyline as the sun set. Amanda thought she had won, that she'd crushed my dreams with a few forged signatures and a smug phone call. She had no idea she'd just walked into a trap of her own making. My grandmother's words echoed in my mind. Sometimes the best revenge is letting people think they've beaten you, right up until the moment they realize they've beaten themselves. Friday was only 3 days away. I wondered what excuse Amanda would give the realtor when the money didn't appear in her account. More importantly, I wondered how she would explain to James why she tried to steal from his sister. I picked up my phone and texted Linda. "Send me everything you've documented. I want to be ready when this all falls apart." Then I turned back to my medical school application, a small smile playing at my lips. Amanda thought she was destroying my dream. Instead, she was about to learn a valuable lesson about underestimating the quiet ones in the family. Friday morning arrived with a storm of text messages from Amanda. "The bank says the transfer failed. What did you do? You think you're so clever, don't you? James is devastated. How could you do this to your own brother?" I sipped my coffee, reviewing the documented evidence Linda had sent over. Everything was there. Amanda's multiple attempts to access the account, the forged signatures, even recordings of her calls to the bank where she tried to impersonate me. My phone rang. "Sophie, we need to talk," James said, his voice tight with anxiety. "There's some kind of problem with the transfer," he continued. "There is," I replied calmly. "Would you like to know what really happened, or do you want to keep pretending your wife didn't just try to steal my education fund?" Silence on the other end. Then finally he said, "It wasn't stealing. I signed the papers. We're family." "Did you actually sign them, James? Or did Amanda forge your signature after showing you different documents?" More silence. I could almost hear the pieces clicking into place in his mind. "Come over," he finally said. "Please. I need to understand what's going on." An hour later, I sat in her living room, my laptop open to display the evidence. Amanda paced behind the couch, her designer heels clicking against the hardwood floors she'd insisted they install last month. "As you can see," I explained, pulling up the forged documents, "these signatures don't match your usual handwriting, James. The bank's fraud department spotted it immediately. You have no right to move that money." Amanda burst out, "It was just sitting there while you play pretend about medical school. We needed it." I raised an eyebrow. "Needed it? For what? A 5-bedroom house you can't afford? More designer clothes? Or to cover the gambling debts you've been hiding from James?" Her face went pale. James turned to stare at her. "What gambling debts?" he asked. I pulled up another document, a credit report Linda had obtained during our investigation. "Your wife has been busy," I said. 3 maxed-out credit cards, 2 personal loans, and regular withdrawals at the Golden Palace Casino. Did you wonder why she was so interested in accessing my college fund?" Amanda's composure cracked. "You had no right to look into my finances," she stammered. "Actually, I had every right. You tried to steal my money. Did you really think I wouldn't protect myself? That I wouldn't notice when you started asking questions about my account details?" James sat heavily on the couch, his face ashen. "Amanda, is this true? The gambling?" he asked. "It's not what you think," she said hurriedly. "I had a system. I was going to win it all back. The house would fix everything. We could have restructured it when we needed to. I watched my brother's world crumble around him. Part of me wanted to comfort him, but he needed to see the truth for himself." "How much?" he asked quietly. "What? How much do you owe?" Amanda's silence was damning. "Over $200,000, I answered for her. "And that's just what we could trace." James put his head in his hands. I saw his shoulders shake. "Get out," he whispered. "Baby, please," Amanda started. "Get out," James roared, standing up. "You tried to steal from my sister. You forged my signature. You've been gambling away our savings. Get out." Amanda grabbed her purse, mascara running down her face. "Fine, but don't think this is over. I'll find a way to fix this." The door slammed behind her. James collapsed back onto the couch. "I'm so sorry, Sophie," he whispered. "I should have listened when you said something felt off about her. I wanted to believe someone could love me that much, that quickly." I moved to sit beside him, pulling out an envelope from my bag. "Here," I said softly. "You'll need this." "What is it?" he asked. "Contact information for a good divorce lawyer. Linda recommended her. And proof that Amanda has been planning this from the beginning." James looked through the papers, his face growing harder with each page. Text messages showing Amanda bragging to friends about marrying into a family with money. Bank statements showing transfers to offshore accounts. Casino receipts dating back to before their wedding. She never loved me, did she? He asked, his voice small. No, I replied gently. But that's not a reflection on you. She's a con artist, James. She's done this before. His head snapped up. What? I pulled out the final document, a police report from 3 years ago. Another marriage, another theft, another devastated family. She disappeared before they could press charges, I explained. Changed her name and moved here. Started fresh with a new target. James was quiet for a long time, processing everything. Finally, he looked at me. The college fund, it's safe. I nodded. Grandma taught me well. The money was moved to a secure account weeks ago. Amanda's transfer attempts were blocked and documented. We have everything we need to press charges. Do it, he said firmly. Press charges. All of it. I'll testify. Provide whatever you need. She needs to be stopped. I hugged my brother, feeling him shake with suppressed sobs. I'm sorry, he whispered again. I'm supposed to protect you, not put you in danger. Hey, I pulled back to look at him. You protected me plenty when we were kids. Let me protect you this time. My phone buzzed, a text from Linda. The police are ready to move on our evidence. Amanda's previous victims have been contacted and are willing to testify. What happens now? James asked. Now, I replied, we make sure Amanda can't do this to anyone else. And then, I have a medical school interview to prepare for. For the first time that day, James smiled. You're really going to do it? Become a doctor. That's what the money was for. That's what Grandma wanted. He nodded, wiping his eyes. She'd be proud of you, you know. Not just for catching Amanda, but for never giving up on your dream. I squeezed his hand. She'd be proud of you too, for being brave enough to face the truth. Outside, thunder rumbled as the sky darkened. Somewhere in the city, Amanda was probably trying to figure out her next move, unaware that her game was finally over. But here in this moment, something broken was beginning to heal. 2 months later, I stood in front of my bathroom mirror, adjusting my white coat. My medical school interview had gone perfectly, just as my preparation with the secured funds had allowed. But today wasn't about my future as a doctor. Today was about justice. Ready? James asked from the doorway. He looked better now, the shadows under his eyes finally fading. The divorce papers had been filed the day after Amanda's schemes came to light. Ready, I confirmed, grabbing my bag. The courthouse was packed, but not just with us. 3 other families were there. Amanda's previous victims. She'd used different names each time. Amanda Wilson, Amy Walker, Anna Wells. But her strategy had always been the same. Quickly locate assets, forge documents, drain accounts. You don't have to do this, I told James as we took our seats. Linda can present the evidence without your testimony. He shook his head. No, I need to face her. We all do. Amanda was led in by officers, her designer clothes replaced by generic court attire. She'd been arrested at the airport 3 weeks earlier, attempting to flee with a fake passport. The smug smile I remembered from her phone call was gone, replaced by a look of desperate calculation. Her eyes widened when she saw the other families. This wasn't part of her plan. The proceedings moved quickly. Linda presented our evidence methodically. The forged signatures, the gambling debts, the pattern of fraud across multiple states. Each family stood to testify, sharing nearly identical stories of trust betrayed and lives nearly ruined. When it was James's turn, his voice was steady. She made me believe I'd found true love, he said. Instead, I nearly helped her steal my sister's future. The money she tried to take wasn't just cash in an account. It was a grandmother's legacy, a dream of becoming a doctor, a future of helping others. Amanda doesn't just steal money, she steals hope. I squeezed his hand as he returned to his seat. Finally, it was my turn. Unlike Amanda's other victims, I was fortunate. I began, I said. My grandmother taught me to protect myself, to trust my instincts, to document everything. The money she left me wasn't just for education. It was a lesson in standing up for what's right. Today isn't about revenge, I continued. It's about making sure Amanda can't destroy any more families. The judge's verdict was decisive. Guilty on all counts. 5 years in prison. Restitution to all victims. No possibility of early release. You think this changes anything? Amanda spat as she was led away. You're still just playing at being a doctor. You'll fail and I'll be out before you finish your first year. I smiled, thinking of my grandmother's words about letting people believe they've won. Actually, I replied calmly, I start medical school next month. Your attempt to steal my dream just motivated me to work harder. So thank you, Amanda. You taught me that sometimes, the best revenge is succeeding despite those who try to stop you. Outside the courthouse, James turned to me. I found her ring, he said. The engagement ring I spent 3 months' salary on. It's fake, just like everything else about her. Sell it, I suggested. Use the money to start fresh. He shook his head, pulling out the ring. No, I want you to have it. Sell it and add it to your school fund. Turn one more piece of her lies into something good. That evening I sat in my office looking at my grandmother's photo. The acceptance letter from medical school lay on my desk along with the latest statement from my secured education fund. My phone buzzed, a text from James. Thank you for never giving up on me even when I couldn't see the truth. I smiled, thinking about how different things could have been if I hadn't listened to my grandmother's lessons about protecting myself. Amanda had thought she was taking advantage of a naive dreamer, too busy studying to notice her schemes. Instead, she'd encountered someone prepared, protected, and unwilling to let anyone steal her future. I picked up my white coat, running my fingers over the embroidered name, Sophie Parker, medical student. Sometimes the best victories aren't just about keeping what's yours. They're about showing others that it's never too late to stand up for yourself, pursue your dreams, and trust your instincts. And as for Amanda, she had 5 years to think about the fact that the quiet one she underestimated was now on her way to becoming Dr. Parker. While she sat in a cell, her own dreams of easy money finally out of reach.